Welcome to Daily Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Hey, good Friday morning to each and every one of you. Happy, memorable Memorial Day weekend to each and all. And this is, in the United States, a big deal. It's a big deal for us. It's when you'll see flags draping highways. It's when you'll see all of our national cemeteries honored, and we pay honor to those who gave their last full measure of devotion in defending this country. And so this is a significant day for each and every one of us. And I pray that you have a meaningful Memorial Day weekend. Unofficially, for us, it is the beginning of the summer, the summer break. And I know some of my grandkids are out of school. Some are still in school for a few days next week. But unofficially, Memorial Day, Labor Day sort of bracket the summer months for us. And what is summer? It's shaping up to be some great things happening, and weather patterns of what we've seen the last few weeks. We may be in for a wild time along the Gulf Coast. So say a prayer in advance. And happy that you're here. James, Jeanette, Nancy, Donald, each and every one of you, you make this very special, our daily devotion family, coming to you Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central. Then we jump over to kycc.com after this is over. Urge you to go there. I was up this morning, and whatever reason, I don't know, something about the weather, it just reminded me of one of my early jobs. Back in a prior life, it seems, when I worked as an accountant, Fortune 500 company, the division I worked for specialized in high pressure products for the oil industry. We crafted high pressure wellheads for deep wells, onshore, offshore, and it would be, as the month end closed, my particular job got really bizarre. And I had to do a few schedules that others in finance needed before they could initiate the days long process of closing the books. And before I took the job, I knew you just sat around and waited until these schedules were done, and then you could get busy. So when they handed me the responsibility for the schedules, that particular morning, I would get there very early to make sure the schedules were done, waiting on everybody's desk when they got there to work that day, saved hundreds of hours, and let everybody get out at a decent time each day. So I don't know, 1, 2 in the morning would find me parking the car in the parking lot. I'd get a better parking place than I ever would. And since the office was locked, I would have to come back through the raw yard, through the warehouses, and then through the main shop floor to get into the side entrance to the office. And I got a chance to see some of the workers that I normally wouldn't, and it'd be a different crew there. Some I knew because I had expedited through that shops and warehouse and everything before I went up into finance. And there were some of the old hands, and they were beyond retirement age. They liked working the third shift. They would tell me that none of the big bosses were around then, and they were on their own, and they didn't need supervision. They were the true artisans, and they were the craftsmen. And in spite of the odd hours, in spite of the rush that I was in to get everything ready for the opening of the workday, I would stop a few moments at each of the lathes or the CNC machines or inspection or testing and just watch these guys do their thing. The satisfaction, the happiness. Most of them recognized me, so they knew I wasn't there inspecting or looking over their shoulder. I was just admiring the genius of them all. And I thought, here they are. They don't have anybody looking at them. They don't have anybody watching them. but they're doing some of their best work. And it got me thinking early this morning, why do some people succeed and some don't? Why do some have the grit and resilience to just overcome, and some just at the slightest bit of hesitation, the slightest bit of opposition, they just roll over and play dead? What is the difference? I love what Martin Luther King, of course, I love all of his speeches. He was a communicator, but there was another speech that he gave that it's called the street sweeper speech. He said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets, even as Michelangelo painted, or as Beethoven composed music and Shakespeare wrote poetry. That man should sweep streets so well that all the host of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. What Dr. King was describing was what I call passion. And I believe that passion is the ultimate difference maker. Not IQ, not the advantages you're born with, not your prestige, popularity, or power, not what job or title you hold or don't hold. I love what Paul said in 2 Corinthians 9, for as touching the ministering of the saints, it's superfluous. Well, you don't say that word very much. It's superfluous for me to write to you. For I know the forwardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to Macedonia, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal hath provoked very many. Yet I have sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you be in vain, that you be ready. Your zeal, that is a King James word, zeal. Dr. King said, I have a dream. The saints of Corinth would say, well, we have zeal. The modern translations of that word is passion. The Corinthians would say, we have passion. And passion makes up the difference in everything you and I do. So the Bible word for passion, King James, is zeal. It means to be red hot. It means to be glowing, bubbling. It can mean intense drive, conviction. It can speak of an intense desire that compels perfection and excellence and action. That's it. Miriam, Karen, it's passion. It's passion that prompts us to do amazing things. Jean de La Fontaine said, man is so made that when anything fires his soul, insensibilities vanish. Passion gets you beyond the impossible. Oh, I just feel like that. Paul praised those saints. He said, your zeals provoked many. Others have been caught up in your passion. There is this something about passion. It sets the world on fire. George Whitefield, an early American evangelist, was asked the secret of his ministry. And Whitefield, this author of Great Awakening, said, I spend time on my knees asking for fire in my life. Because the word passion, it's letting the sparks fly. It's getting in touch with that inner fire. Billy Sunday, that famous evangelist, was asked the secret of ministry, and he responded, I asked the Lord to set me on fire and then let people watch me burn for God. There's such power in passion. There were people lining up for a job in a church in a Methodist church in London. One candidate was asked, how would you describe yourself? And he said, well, I'm shy, I'm quiet, I'll probably never set the Thames, speaking of the river that bifurcates London. He said, I'll probably never set the Thames on fire. In the interview of the church, he got annoyed with that answer. He said, I'm not interested. to know if you can set the Thames on fire. What I want to know is if I picked you up and dropped you into the Thames, would it sizzle? Oh, I like that. Would it sizzle? I'm not asking if you set the world on fire, just asking if I dropped you into the oceans of the world, would it sizzle? Do we sizzle in what we do? Is there a sizzle? I'm talking to a lot of Louisiana folks here today. You know that in South Louisiana there is a steakhouse called Ruth's Chris. In fact, that steakhouse, I don't know if it's the best steaks in the world, but I want to tell you what, they got the best sizzle. They perfected the sizzle, and it comes from immense heat and the butter. Roxanne, the butter. Oh, the butter. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Impassionate people can survive in the drizzle, but passionate people thrive in the sizzle. Yeah, I like that. Oh, you got to get a hold of something, folks. Here's what Moses cries out for Israel. And he says, I'm not going to let you go, God, until you give me a promise. That's passion. You watch Nehemiah overcome all obstacles to rebuild that wall. That's passion. Yeah, you listen to the Apostle Paul, whose desire is to preach the gospel. That's passion. You read of the greats in American history, the David Brainards, dying of tuberculosis, on his knees praying to reach the continent. Yeah, it's passion. It's the John Knox, give me Scotland or I die. It's David Livingstone going through going through Africa praying, saying, I want to see this continent saved. It's Count Zinzendorf saying, I have one passion only. It is he. It is he. I think passion is the ultimate difference maker. It affects everything we do. You start a fire, and it'll warm anything that comes in contact with it. Nothing passes through the fire untouched, unmoved, unchanged. And in the same way, the fires of passion affect everything we do. Ecclesiastes 9 and 10, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. This is passion. For there's no word, no device, no knowledge, no wisdom in the grave. Whether you're going, whatever you're going to do it now. Because your life, a passion-filled life, is productive. Your schedule. I just want to say something. I don't know. I don't know if you come in contact with someone, please share this with them. I'm just a big believer. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how high you've grown in your profession and field. You'd better find something you love to do. You better find something about which you're passionate. Yes, that you can't live without. I hate seeing people go through the motions. I hate seeing people just marking time. I can't stand to watch people. I think that's what attracted me early that morning. At the very beginning, I was sharing this story of passing through all of the shops and production plants and watching these guys that didn't need to work, didn't have to work. They were all beyond retirement age, but they were the professed artisans in their field. They were the best machinists in all of the world. And I would watch them as they would ply their trade. They didn't do it because they had to, didn't do it because anybody was making them. There was just a fire burning on the inside of them. What you do during the day, you ought to feel passionate about. If you get up in the morning and look at your schedule and you just go, oh, groan, 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 and you go through the day just on fumes, you better find something you're passionate about. You're giving. You give to what you care about. You care about. One of the ministries that operates in our church is so busy this time of the year and all through the summer is Reach Out America. You can find them over at reachoutamerica.org. It's a bunch of groupies that give to that because I think every one of them have been through the fire. They've been through a disaster. and they try to lend a hand to others in disaster. And yes, they're up north of Houston ministering even today. And they'll be at every storm, every situation. You know why? Because they're passionate about it. Larry doesn't have to do it. He's beyond retirement age, but he's passionate about it. I love passionate people. You need to give to what you're passionate about. Your worship in the Old Testament, worship and fire went hand in hand. Yeah, yeah. They had to have fire. They had to have that incense, that that burning censer of incense in their hand. You ought to be on fire for what you were. There ought to be some fire in it. Your work for God. Moses at the burning bush heard God said, "You're going to tell them, let my people go." Your witness, there ought to be a holy glow about you. Nobody wants to hear from someone deadpan, someone not excited. It's passion that'll change your attitude. So see you, Beverly. Karen, it's passion that'll change your behavior. Passion alters relationships. Passion's contagious. Passion can be caught. Passion works like a magnet. It draws some, it pushes others away, but passion will propel you to greatness. Passion, because passion causes you to keep showing up when others are giving up. And you keep saying, I know that God's going to make a way. Passion will help you reach the potential of God. George Gallup, this is one of the old surveys. I had to look around for it this morning, found it. Years ago, he did the closest thing to a worldwide survey. And I say that because he just did a survey that shows he's done an 8-decade survey on attendance in worship in America, and we are at an all-time low. You ought to see what's happened in the 21st century. At the beginning of the 21st century, something like 70% of Americans said they frequented the house of God. We're down below half now. It has plummeted. Maybe this other survey that he did, closest to the worldwide survey that he's ever done, he surveyed 13,000 people in 130 countries, people that had once gone to church but now did no longer. What modern vernacular would call the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, no religious preference. He asked him, what would it take to get you back to church? Do you know what the overwhelming first choice was? Passion in the lives of the leadership. Nobody wants to look at a platform and think we're in the first church of the Frigidaire. Nobody wants to look at the people singing on the platform and see a dead face. Nobody wants to look at the platform and watch pastors just go through the motion. No, they want fire. No wonder that 92% of churches in America are not growing. They don't see passion. They don't see fire. I believe the apostolic message. I believe the doctrine. But I also believe that this thing began with cloven tongues like as a fire. And I believe we need that passion. We need it as never before. It's passion that's going to take you beyond yourself. It's passion that's going to lift you. You know, 3 times in the New Testament, people were called mad. Not mad as in angry, mad as in insane, a maniac. Rhoda. Do you remember Rhoda, who she was? The church was praying that Simon Peter would be released from prison. And Simon Peter shows knocking at the door, and Rhoda finally works up the courage and goes and looks, sees, slams the door in the face of an answered prayer, runs back, says, God answered our prayer. Simon Peter standing at the door. He's at the door, and they said, you're mad. You're mad. Because he was just going through the motions. Going through the motions, not realizing an angel was already at work. Oh, oh, wow. Jesus was called insane. When he said, I have the power to lay my life down and take it up again, the Pharisees said he's mad. He's insane. Paul, testifying before Festivus, they said he's mad. He's insane. Hey, daily devotion of miracles knocking at your door. Resurrection power is available. Oh my. The testimony of the set free and deliverance is knocking at your door. It's time to get passionate. It's time to get passionate. On this Memorial Day weekend, when we honor the fallen, don't you tell me it was just a sense of duty that brought them out there. They loved their country. They loved their flag. They loved what they were fighting for. It's time to get passionate. You remember that prophecy that normally we quote this in scripture of the increase of his government, there shall in peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David, upon his kingdom, to order it, to establish it with judgment forevermore. Remember, this is one verse for unto us a child is born. One verse later, what does it say? The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. What drove the first Christmas, what will drive kingdom expansion in the world is the zeal of the Lord, the passion of God. His kingdom grows by passion. That's what expands the borders of this kingdom. It's not a float chart. It's not a committee. It's not somebody meeting in the back room. It's not a good idea. It's not might, power. It's the Spirit. There is a passion. Passion. It'll be passion that propels us to get through this summer. It will be passion that causes people to grow the kingdom during these summer months. It will be passion that causes people to say, I'm not giving up. I'm going to grow up and I'm going to see the mighty works of God. It's going to be passion that causes even senior citizens to say, we're not done. We're not through. No, no. Let's put some thorns in our laurels and see what else God can do. Let's get some fire going. It's going to be passion that lifts you up into the new realm of influence for the King. If you're going to get it, above all else, get passion. Get passion. Solomon said, get wisdom. I say, get passion. You got to seek after it, though. You got to seek after it with all of your heart. And isn't that passion in itself? Passion's got to be caught. You got to get in the company of passionate people. Passion's got to be sought. Passion's got to be caught. Passion's got to be bought. You're going to be paying a price for it. Can I give you in the close of this devotion? And I'm just amazed we're making it because his computer, you can't believe it's flashing, it's moaning, it's groaning, it's giving me all sorts of warning signals. It's trying to shut down. Yet as I speak, I got to get that new computer talking to everything. Can I give you 4 reasons people like passion? And when I give you these 4 reasons, I'm giving you the inverse as well. How to get passion. Why don't I have passion? Because what's precious has become familiar. Satan's great agent of familiarity is sly and devious. Can't take away your salvation, but it'll make you take it for granted. Can't take your home away from you, but he'll make it dull and seem ordinary. May not be able to take your wife or husband from you, but he has the power to make that relationship become routine. Can't take your kids away from you, but the great agent of familiarity can make it seem common. Too busy to notice them. He'll make you forget that the faces around the kitchen table will soon be at tables of their own. He whispers in your ear, tomorrow, tomorrow. Tomorrow you can go on a picnic with him. Tomorrow spend time with him. Tomorrow take your wife out to dinner. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And if you allow him, he'll make those wedding pictures in your hallway become a memory of another couple of a long time ago. Don't let the enemy with the agency of familiarity, don't let him cause you to take things for granted. That's why you lose your passion. That which is precious becomes familiar. Here's the second reason. You crave others' acceptance and approval. Yes, you just want to be popular, want to be in the in crowd. And so you adopt passion's wet blanket without even thinking. You extinguish the flames and you trade passion for their approval. I don't want the world's approval, and I don't want carnal Christianity's approval, and I don't want cynical Pentecostal approval. I don't want dead, cold 4th and 5th generation Pentecost approval. I want a fire burning on the inside of me. Third way you lose your passion is because you have no purpose beyond yourself, that life is filled with ego. Life is filled with self. You get passionate about bowling, get passionate about fishing, get passionate about golfing, get passionate about hunting, get passionate about going on trips, but you have little passion for what God called you to do. You better switch passions, and you better get passionate about eternal things. And then finally is number 4, and this is the biggest killer of them all, apathy. Apathy comes from a Greek prefix, without, pathos, passion, without passion. What once caused our hearts to beat faster doesn't affect us anymore. You get into the rut and the routine, you're apathetic, you're pathos. You have no passion. You want to get it back? Don't deny him. Don't demote Jesus. If he's not first place, he's commonplace. It's not a condition. This walk with God, it's not a condition of the mind. It's not knowing trivial facts. It's a condition of the heart. Your heart's got to get set on fire like those 2 on the road of Emmaus. Did not our hearts burn within us? You got to get back in the presence of the Lord. You want to get it back? Decide you want it back. Decide you're sick of going through the motions. You want change in your life. Get away. Hear me carefully. Get away from impassionate people. I don't hang out with sarcastic people. Don't have much time to hang out with anybody, to tell you the truth. But if I do, I can tell you I'm not going to hang out with someone who's sarcastic. I'm not going to hang out with a cynical person. I'm not going to hang out with a cruel person. I'm not going to hang out with somebody that has something negative to say about the next generation and somebody that always wanted to find fault in others. You know why? Because they're the ones that are going to steal from you and rob from you your passion. Come on, folks, stir up that gift that is on the inside of you. Get that fire going again, because your passion, don't you ever doubt it. It is the difference maker in all of your life. Okay. All right. Can't believe I got through it. I got so excited to go through it. I just took a little long. Let me just say, Memorial Day weekend, have a meaningful Memorial Day weekend. We give honor and we remember those who gave that last full measure of devotion. Tessie and I had a chance with the stories in Texas District to walk through the memorials in the mall in D.C. a couple weeks ago. Went through the World War II Memorial. Didn't get to the Vietnam Memorial. Went to the Korean War Memorial. I honor those in the memory of those. I thank God for the men and women who not only served, but who gave their very all so that I could do what I'm doing right now, that we could gather and be free. I'm not sure. I'm very thankful that I got through today with this computer. Probably will not be seeing you Monday. That's probably going to be test day. I hope if you see little testing come up, just tag on, say hello to make sure that we've got the new computer up and running. Thankful that I got through today. God bless. God be with you. I look forward to seeing you, I don't know, sometime real soon. In Jesus' name.
Thank you for sharing in Daily Devotion with Ken Gurley. We pray this ministry has been a source of encouragement and strength to you. Please be mindful that your financial support enables us to meet with you each day. To give a donation or connect with us, visit our website at kengurley.com. There you will also find the latest books, podcasts, and resources. Blessed 90 Days to Change Your World is Pastor Gurley's latest book. You can get your copy of this life-changing book at kengurley.com. May God's favor rest on you in every way until we meet again.